Hello, this is Carmela Bell with the Diabetic Type Life, your diabetes strategist. I'm coming to you all tonight for the very first time at night, for the most part. Yeah, with the live, it is. I've done some recorded stuff, but it was usually early in the day. But I'm coming to you all to say hello and to hopefully have some people come in so I can get to know you a little bit better, be able to answer some questions for you. At minimum, just have a little fun if we could, and do it all at the same time instead of after the fact. I really do want to say thank you to you guys for watching the replays. This information I feel is very important, and I really want to, get it out as much as we can. So I'm glad that you all are still watching them and sharing them and tagging people, because diabetes is not something that people just wear externally. You can't just look at a person and tell if they're diabetic. So it's going to be really important that we share these messages so we can get them where they need to go, so we can save some lives, because I'm really passionate about this one less amputation and about stopping the diabetes status quo. So as of right now, looks like I don't have anyone here yet, but that's okay. I came prepared. It's going to take a little bit of time for everybody to get used to, meeting me and showing up for these things. So as of now, what I'll do is just talk to you guys like I always do, because I do have a few things prepared. I was thinking about my book that I wrote. It's called Push Through. Diabetes is a bully, pumps are snitches, but we must push through. And in that book, one of the things that I talk about is acceptance versus denial. And a lot of what's around that is avoidance. And I was thinking about how, we just avoid things. We avoid, testing our blood sugars. We avoid sometimes taking pills. We avoid, taking those shots. I'll tell you a story. So it's funny. My son, as we know, I've shared that he was diagnosed in 2012. So he's this year, November, I think it'll be 5 years, if my math is right, that he will have been diagnosed. And for the better part of this time, he was on shots. And, it got to the point where shots were really no big deal. We were trying to decide, do we want to go to a pump or do we want to stay on shots? And, I said, well, we'll go to the pump when he decides that he's tired of shots. So we eventually did that. And after about a year of being on the pump, with all as great as it is, with all its bells and whistles and chimes and alarms, he really started to get sick of the pump and decided, I need a break. I want a break. So we agreed that we would take a break in summer, but just so happened we had a delay in shipment for his pump supplies, and we ended up taking a 2-week break, and he had to go back to shots. At first he was super excited, but then I think it started to dawn on him just how hard it is to really manage shots. When he's high, he has to get a correction, and that's another shot. So he's taking breakfast, lunch, and dinner shots. And if he's high, he's got to take another shot to give him more insulin to bring that blood sugar back down. So he may, have multiple shots in a day. And I think he forgot that. And I'm telling you, that first week with those shots was almost the worst. He just complained and complained and complained and complained. And finally, when his supplies showed up, it was all of a sudden like, oh, well, it's here now, so give me just a few more days of freedom. You have basically wrecked my brain and given me a hard time, and now you want a few more days of freedom? Since I'm not the diabetic, and I'm not the one who has to go through all the finger sticks and pricks, I said fine. It was something about him just knowing that he had it there that kind of changed his perspective on the shots, and the fact that it wasn't attached to his body and he could just be free. He kind of was weighing the pros and cons. And for him, if that's the best I can get, that's really what I want. I want him to think about what are the pros and the cons. We can't just avoid. We have to do something. We either do shots or we do a pump, but we have to do something. So I got to thinking about you guys and thinking about avoidance, and I'm wondering how many people are avoiding some of the really important things that they need to do. And avoidance sometimes doesn't look like, oh, I'm just not going to take this shot. But avoidance can be, waking up in the morning and knowing that you should test your blood sugar immediately, but you say, oh, well, I'm going to go do this first. Oh, I need to go take a shower. Oh, now I need to get my bags ready to go out the door. Oh, I need to make, a breakfast. But then you get in traffic, then you get to work. Oh, your boss called an impromptu meeting, like mine used to all the time. And now we still haven't tested any blood sugars. That's a form of avoiding, because what we know is the truth is I should have checked it first thing. As soon as my feet hit the floor, as soon as I hit the side of that bed, I should have checked my blood. My glucometer should have been right there. Because if I check it, then I know what to do. What if you were low? And you get up and you're running around, running through a downtown, or running through from street to street from wherever you parked your car. What if you're low? And you didn't check it that morning. And by the time you get to your desk, you're about to freaking pass out because you don't have enough energy left because you were already low and you didn't check your blood, and now you're in this meeting and who knows what time you're gonna actually get to eat. This is a serious situation, and I know people who have had diabetes for a long time kind of take for granted that your body's just gonna be okay, but sometimes it's not okay. Sometimes you really put yourself in a bad situation where you might end up in the emergency room. Or you might end up off work for a few days. Some people can't afford to be off work for a few days. So it's about really thinking about the long term. Is it worth it? Avoiding, the things that we need to do. So I can't see if anyone is on. So if you're on, let me just say hello. Looks like there is one person on. Hi. I wish I could see your name so I could say hello for real. But if you have any questions, please type them in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them. Hopefully they'll come through so I can see them. But right now I'm just talking about avoidance and talking about what avoidance looks like in our real daily lives, And so one of the ways that we avoid is by doing it later. Another way that we avoid is the obvious. I know I should take. Oh, hey, Keisha. How are you? Thank you so much for coming. I'm so excited to have you here. So I'm just talking about avoidance and, just wanting to talk about what does avoidance look like for you? When have there been times where you should have done something better or different, but you just chose not to? What kind of things, got in your way and kept you from, making the right choice? These are the things that we want to really start thinking about, because in order for us to really be successful with our diabetes maintenance, we have to get honest. And in order to be honest, we have to really start, thinking about what we're doing and how our actions, are benefiting us or hindering us. So looks like I have somebody else on. If you want to tell me who you are or post a comment so I can see your name. It looks like only if you post a comment can I see who's on here, but I want to say hello. Come on in. I want to get a chance to kind of get to know everybody in the group and kind of know what your stories are and find out what it is you need so we can give you some laser focused information. We can possibly get on a discovery call. And hey, Monica, thank you for coming. I sure appreciate you showing up. If you have any questions or want to relay any questions from anybody that you know, even if it's something you know and you just want me to kind of talk about it, let me know. I'll be happy to do it. But one of the things that avoidance, to me, there are three things that avoidance does for us. When we avoid, one of the main things that it does is it keeps us from having, look, I'm making sure I'm saying the right thing, having an honest conversation with ourselves. I had to look at my notes. Mother brain. But it keeps us from having an honest conversation with ourselves. If we're avoiding things, then we don't tell the truth to ourselves. We don't tell ourselves that, what I'm doing is not right. So we can't really make the right choices. We tell ourselves that skipping that blood check before lunch, it wasn't a big deal. I feel okay. And then you go eat a carb-loaded meal and you were already high, and now you feel terrible a few hours later. So terrible that you're like, I don't think this is good. Now you're worried. Was it worth it? Let's not avoid. If we just acknowledge and do what we know we need to do, then we can make the right choices. Keisha, you said, I can totally feel the morning situation you just spoke about. Avoidance, you hit the nail on the head. That's so me most mornings. It's real. It is so real. And that's the deal. It's like, this is not about judgment. This is just us about having like a real conversation about what is standing in our way. What things are keeping us from doing what we need to do to stay right, to stay healthy. A lot of people, are rocking and rolling with diabetes. I mean, you just like almost, 5 point whatever A1Cs. They're doing great. But it's just not that easy for everybody. A lot of us have different circumstances that go on. We have different levels of resources that we have access to, and everybody's situation is different. And some people are just not doing the best that they could do. So I decided that I wanted to be here to support those people. If you know everything you need to know, then join the bandwagon and encourage everybody. Encourage them to do the right things. But if you do need help and you are struggling, then ask questions. I just really want to encourage people to ask for what they need, because I don't know about y'all, but like in elementary school, I remember my mom always telling me, if you don't know how to do something, you ask. You don't sit there and act like you know because you're embarrassed. You ask. And a lot of times this is what we do. We act like we know. And all the while, when it's time to go in there and make those potatoes and you're ready to eat, do you measure them? If you even try to measure them, do you know what a portion looks like? Should it be a fourth of a cup, a half a cup, a whole cup? And then how many carbs is that? Do you know? And I want to just encourage people, to let's get real so we can stop guessing at stuff and really learn what we need to know so we can just make the best decisions possible. So that's the first thing. The first thing avoidance does is it keeps us from having honest conversations with ourselves. The second thing that it does is it keeps us from asking for what we need. If I'm in denial, then I'm not really going to be proactive about letting you know that I don't know stuff because I'm too busy acting like it's not a problem. So I don't have any questions to really ask. I mean, yeah, I could be doing better, but I got it. You don't have it. Your A1C is high. You don't have it. Your blood sugar was high. You don't have it. When you go to a restaurant, you don't really know what to order. You don't have it. And there's no judgment in there. There's no really right or wrong in there because you haven't really been taught. A lot of people really don't know how to do better. But I want us to simply start thinking, not even if you don't make any changes today. No changes. Don't stress yourself. Don't break out in sweats. Not necessary. But let's just start thinking about what it is we're really doing and whether these things are really benefiting us. Because I don't know about you, but I'm kind of like these amputations. I'm tired of hearing it. It just seems like I don't know what it is. It's like you never see a certain kind of car until you buy one yourself. We had a Pathfinder. Never saw anybody with a Pathfinder. As soon as we bought one, it was a Pathfinder on every corner at a stop sign. And it's like now that I'm focusing on diabetes, excuse me, everybody is telling me about amputations, and dialysis. And now I'm learning more and more people who are having the eye problems and stuff. This has got to stop. It's not a requirement. It's not a part of the process where we have to just go through this negative stuff with diabetes. So we got to stop avoiding. How would our lives be different if we woke up in the morning and we just stopped avoiding? What things would we be doing differently? How would your day be different? What new things would you have incorporated because you're now no longer avoiding? Would you have asked more questions? Would you have reached out to somebody for help? Would you have, been proactive and went online to look up new recipes? Because that's the other thing. We know our diets stink sometime. We know maybe it's not terrible, but maybe it's just too much carbs. It's too carb heavy. Instead of getting online and trying to find some new recipes, we just keep eating the same old thing. Because what? We're creatures of habit. We do what we know. And if you're like me, I'm not really one for new recipes. I'm not adventurous in the kitchen. That's just not my thing. But I realized at a certain point with my son, this is not working. We got to make different choices. And so I had to get proactive and start looking for new recipes and looking for new ways to do things. And so if we're in avoidance, we're not going to be proactive. We can't do it. We can't do it. So the third thing that avoidance does to us is it keeps us from being able to process our emotions. When we avoid, if I'm not admitting that it's happening, then I definitely can't process the feeling of it. There are a lot of people who are really ticked off that they have diabetes, but they act like, yeah, girl, I got diabetes. It's no big deal. But you're angry. There are some people who are literally angry. There are some people who are sad. Some people who really need to grieve. Getting a diabetes diagnosis is tough. It changes so much. Your life is different. Your relationships and how you interact with people are different. And it's just not something to be dismissed. So to feel sad about the loss of a life that you once had that's now different, that's a real feeling. But if you're avoiding, it's nothing. Everything is everything. It's all good. It's not all good. And you're not going to be able to process. And because you don't process those feelings, you won't be able to fully move forward. You won't make it to acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean you have to like it. But acceptance means I have to own it. This is real. This is in my life. And there's some things I have to do. You won't make it there if you don't get through, work through this avoidance. So I don't want to keep you all forever. But if you all have any questions, please type them in. If you maybe decide you have some later, still type them in as you watch. I'll come back and answer each and every one of them. If you watch this on the replay, I'll come back and answer each and every one of them. But for right now, I just want you to think about, avoidance and what role it plays in your life. And, it's not for everybody. Everybody's not in avoidance. Everybody's not. So I want you all to know that when I'm talking about these different things, I'm not pointing a finger. Everything's not going to be relevant for you. But if it is, if it's touching a few chords, I just encourage you to think about it. Just think, don't do. You don't have to do anything. Just think about the role avoidance is playing in your life. I want you to be strong. I want your mind to be healthy. I want you to be able to deal with the ups and downs of diabetes. And you cannot rebound quickly if you're not fully processing all these different things that come on. When you have a rough diabetes day and your numbers are just high for no stupid reason and you can't get them down, that takes an emotional toll. And you need to be able to just process those feelings. And that's what I want us to do, is process the feelings so we can get through it, so we can be ready and still strong to go, for the next day, because we know we're starting all over in the AM. So I know you can do it. I know you can do it. You got it in you. And if you have questions, or if you need help, or if you decide, you know what, I've been doing this long enough by myself, I'm really not making the progress that I want to make. I really could use somebody to kind of look at my situation from the outside in and tell me where I can make some changes. Then you need to contact me. Go to bit.ly/call with Carmela. And you can schedule a time to talk with me. We can talk for about 15-20 minutes free of charge. And, if it's not a good fit, no problem. Stay in the group. I'm still going to give you good info. But if you decide that, I really need somebody to take a closer look, I really need to learn how to have a better conversation with my doctor, I don't know what I don't know, then I'm your girl. I'm who you want to talk to. And I want to just help you. That's really what I want. I want to help you be able to make it to the other side. Live the life that you deserve to live, keeping all your limbs that the Lord gave you. So if there's not any questions, I'm silly, y'all. I really am. I'm getting used to this crazy camera. But if y'all have any questions, just type them in. And otherwise, I'll just leave you guys with this. Just be strong and know that, we're never given more than we can handle. If you need any help, I'm here for you. So you can go to bit.ly/call with Carmela, and you can schedule a time to talk to me. And it's completely free. So I hope you all have a good evening. And thank you so much to Monica and Keisha for showing up. I love you girls, and take care. Bye.